Well, friends, it sounds like we are actually here and this is working. Excellent. I decided to start a few minutes early just to make sure that my technology was working. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to sit here in silence and then we will begin at 7 p.m. But welcome. Well, friends, it's 7 p.m. and our technology is working. And what a amazing, miraculous, marvelous mystery to be able to go live like this and be together in time, sharing this invitation into a journey of creation. So I'm Sage, Reverend Sage Cole, leader of the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative. And we are getting ready to embark on a journey of creation. And this evening's liturgy, this 20 to 30 minute time that we'll have together here on YouTube Live, is our beginning. It is the invitation to this journey that I hope many will receive and accept. We're gathering tonight on the winter solstice, that moment in the calendar year when the light begins to come back into our world. into our experience, our days get longer. And perhaps you have your own practice for sitting on this night, but it seemed the perfect night to launch this new series and to invite in others to journey with our own light. In many ways, we can think of the creation journey as a journey of growing, expanding light. And on this first night, when we consider the first day of creation, we are really resting in the emergence of light in the darkness. So to begin, this is a simple liturgy, but I will begin with a very primary practice within my Swedenborgian tradition, which is to open the Bible. While Swedenborgian churches have all very different liturgies, very different ways of worshiping, I think pretty much all of them always begin by opening the Word. And we open the Bible to signify that its meaning, its light, is available to us, is calling out to us, and longs to be embodied in our lives. That its inner meaning is calling to us. And I pray that during this creation series, we will feel that and know that, experience that. We're calling together all kinds of different people in the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative, people of all different traditions and relationships to the Bible, to the biblical story, to Christianity, people of different faiths and no faith. And this story of creation and the story of the light calling out to us over the many generations, it lives in here, even if this isn't your primary text. The Bible is a story of people seeking to embody the light. And so I hope that this story will speak to you on this creation journey. I hope we can pull it out and hold it in our hands and dwell in it in new ways, that it might light up our sense and our knowing of the light within. So I'll begin by reading the first couple verses of Genesis, where we hear the beginning story of the day one of creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. I invite you to take a moment in silence with me to just let that reading rest in our presence. I wonder, when you hear this story of the emerging light, of God allowing for the light in the darkness, if you can feel or sense the light within yourself. One of my great hopes with our creation journey is that those of us who are involved will learn to sense our own light and the way in which it lives in us. It lives through us all the time. While the story of creation does not tell the story of the biological processes that occurred through the creation of the world, we do know that we are here because of light. If it were not for the light of the sun, we would not have life on this earth. In so many very physical ways, we are beings of light. We receive life from the heat and the light of the sun. And in the same way, we could say we receive life from the source of all life, which we call God. This heat and this light that lives in our veins, that moves through our bodies, and that empowers us to be here. Somehow, while we're in this world, for most of us, the way it works is that we don't walk around most of the time remembering this part of who we are. Many of us are buried down with lots of other stories of what it means to be a human being on this planet. And some of those stories are very dark. They're very earthbound, and they're very focused on this primal desire to survive and to make our way. Sometimes it seems to me that at this point in our evolution, those stories have just kind of gotten deeper and deeper, thicker and thicker on top of us as each new generation has set its ideals, set its priorities, set its values, given us things to reach for, but also things to fall short of. So that at this time, sometimes it can feel very difficult to wade through all of the stories of what we need to be or should be to survive in this world. To remember that we are primarily beings of light, of energy, of life being received from a source far beyond us. In my experience, that recognition and that knowing, it has the power to really transform the way we live day to day. And it has the power to break through all those layers of stories of what we should be, of what we're not, of what we should fear. And it feels very much like, while that probably is always needed, today on December 21st, 2025, might this be our moment to really receive that truth in a new and more complete way. I've journeyed through the story of creation hundreds of times, and it's always been exciting to think about these stages of growth, this idea that we are here to evolve and to receive, to grow in our consciousness and our awareness, to receive more light, more love. And this year, in this moment, I feel ready to go on this journey in an even deeper way, which is why I'm streaming live on YouTube and inviting you all to join me. It feels like something is ready to turn in our world, at least in my world, and perhaps in yours. That for a long time, these stories of who we should be or what we need to be to survive, while those stories seemed pretty convincing and useful and allowed us to get around in life, that at this point in our world and in our evolution, they're really losing traction. I know many people look out at the world today and see immense darkness, immense confusion, violence, chaos, fear. We certainly see a world that I did not imagine coming into being when I was a younger person making my way. I did not imagine that we would be here now with so much seeming insanity in terms of the separation that we feel from one another, the incredible you know what I'm speaking of. It's hard to put it into words. But there's a lot of chaos and uncertainty about where we're headed. I know a lot of people feel like they can't even imagine what next year will bring. Whereas for some time, life had felt perhaps somewhat predictable. While I know this is very scary for all of us and perhaps not what we would choose or what we would prefer, one thing I feel quite confident of is that at the same time, it seems that darkness is rising, animosity, cruelty, disregard for our neighbor, selfishness, violence, that at the same time that that is growing, there also must be a growing light. A central tenet of my Swedenborgian faith is that there's always balance in this life between heaven and hell, between light and darkness. And so while we may feel overwhelmed and frightened by the darkness of the world, I launched this creation series because simultaneously I am feeling heartened, exhilarated, excited, and inspired by an equally growing light. And I very much want to dwell in that light more deeply, more frequently, more playfully, more creatively, more. And I think those of us who are gathering today, those of us who are seeking to be this light, have an incredible opportunity right now to try new things, to be bolder in our choices, and to firmly, completely, boldly choose to dwell in the light. To no longer be pulled into these messages that would tell us that we should be afraid, that we should be at war, that we should be rejecting of this life we've been given. That there's a moment before us where I certainly, more than ever before in my whole life, feel like I have that choice. That choice really is right there, and it's mine to make. And it's very simple at its core. It's just this choice to love my life, to love this life, to be love in the world, and to accept this experience of life as it is, that I might see it clearly and I might act within it. Many of you know that Helen Keller is one of the saints, the leaders, the inspirers of this new ministry. And she knew of this light. I believe she chose this light. And perhaps it was even clearer to her because of the darkness she lived in without sight or hearing. She spoke often of the light in her darkness and the power it gave her to live just this incredible life of love and truth-telling and justice-seeking in the world. She called life a daring adventure or nothing. And my friends, it feels like we are at a moment where we can really choose to have an adventure. And hopefully you're already making that choice. You're already on an adventure of your own. There are great challenges before us right now in so many ways. So many of the people I love are this very moment suffering. And I know that I can't help them by letting that suffering overwhelm me, by letting it convince me that this life is not worth living, this adventure is not worth taking. I know that the way I can be of most use in this world is to accept the adventure that has been given to me, all the suffering included, and to see what I can do to make it just the slightest bit better. Even if all that is just showing up to it, showing up as myself and sitting with them in the pain. There is the possibility right now of a great turning. And this creation series, taking this story of the 7 days of creation over these next 7 months, journeying through these days of creation and reflecting on what they signify about our own regeneration. I pray that this journey will help us to be together in our own processes of change as we go through and do our own work of uncovering and getting closer to our own light. My greatest hope for the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative is it will be a community of people who are boldly standing in their own light and speaking from that place, sharing from that place, being present together from that place. In many ways, this new endeavor to be a collaborative is about creating a community that's deeply egalitarian, where each of us takes responsibility for our own work, for our own adventure. And yet we meet together in this central place, in these new corners of the internet that we're carving out, at retreats and gatherings, to co-create something new together. Even if it's as simple as an evening time sharing tea and community. Part of the turning of this moment that I see in the world is that fewer and fewer of us are really looking for a preacher or a teacher or a church to give us answers, but we're ready to look within ourselves. And yet this does not take away from our need for community, for support, for the joy of togetherness. And so my great hope with the collaborative is this will be a place where we really can be together in our uniqueness. And I'm so grateful for all the ways that is already coming into being. I'm so grateful for those of you who are here tonight, for those of you who have joined me on this journey so far, whether you've done a Be Love podcast interview with me or come to an evening gathering. whatever way you've shared your light and your love, believe me, I feel it and I treasure it. We already are sharing our light with each other. And I have great hope and faith that that will only grow in this year to come. And here's my child coming up to, hey Zachary, I'm just finishing my live stream. Do you want to say hi to people?
Can I have it?
You can have it, yes. All right, thank you. Why don't you take Princess downstairs? This is a very good example of what it is to be a virtual minister, a mother in home. There's a little snapshot of my life as my children just got back from having dinner with my husband. And that's okay, because we're all in our lives, and it's another one of the gifts and the opportunities of connecting in this virtual way, is we can be together and still be in our homes and in our lives. Because of course, worship and community is meant to be all the time. So my friends, thank you for being here tonight, and I hope you'll take up this invitation to go on this creation journey. We have some really lovely offerings that have come together as collaborators have stepped up to offer their gifts throughout the series. We have ways to gather together to do art, to write together, to reflect on our dreams. We have spaces to be invited into deeper inner inquiry. And all of these offerings are free and available to all. And they will be just so much more rich the more people that step in and take part. So I hope you'll consider joining us. We're making little windows to nurture the light in each other. And I'm excited what we might discover as we find each other in those windows. So may your solstice be filled with light. May you take some time tonight to reflect on how this light is emerging within you. May you give your deep love to this light, and may it grow within us and between us in ways that are beyond our imagining. Amen. Blessings, friends.